All right, welcome everybody. This is the new staff training, getting ready for new staff training and MPD webinar. And so some of you guys I know have had a little bit of trouble trying to get into the Hangout, and hopefully now you're able to watch this live. And as we go, there will be times where I ask for questions. My understanding is if you're watching this via YouTube, you won't be able to ask questions there, but you can email me those questions, stacy.fletcher@crew.org, and I'll try to get to them. But basically what I'm going to do is kind of take you through some times, and then I'll stop and take questions all like at one time, rather than pepper them throughout the training. So I'm going to take a minute, and actually Todd, times where I ask for questions, my understanding is if you're watching this via YouTube, you won't be able to ask questions there, but you can email me with questions, stacy.fletcher@crew.org, and I'll try to get to them. But basically what I'm going to do is kind of take you through.
That's amazing, and your lips aren't moving.
All at one time, rather than pepper them throughout the training. So I'm going to take a minute, and actually Todd, okay, there we go. Sorry about that. All right. Okay. I think people are on now. I think we got this figured out. There we go. All right. Sorry about that. Let's start over again. Todd, would you go ahead and open us up in prayer?
I'd love to.
Thank you.
Father, we thank you for this evening. And Lord, we just ask that you would give us ears to hear and a heart to receive what's being spoken. Lord, we thank you for guiding each and every family that's represented tonight. That you would, Father, just speak to them, that you would call them, that you would anoint them for your service. Father, bless our words tonight and bless this time that we share together. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. So, basically, this is the first time we've tried doing this training this way. And so we're really going to rely on your feedback to figure out how effective and helpful it is. You know, new staff training just tries to pack in so many things. And so a lot of this stuff you need to know actually, you know, before you get there. And then the rest of it can just kind of get overwhelming to try to remember all while you're there. And so we decided to break some of this stuff out into webinars, specifically things that we're doing related to digital strategies. Sorry. Digital strategies is what I'm a part of. I'll introduce myself in just a second. Regarding social media, and then regarding Mpd X. And so that's the stuff that I'm going to be taking you through. And in the past, we've kind of done those as separate things, but the reality is they're easier to learn when you're kind of doing them in the context of things you would actually be doing them in. And so, so that being said, basically the way that I'm going to take you through it tonight is we'll go back and forth between, you know, some of the social digital media and then Mpd X and how you use those in those different settings. So we are going to get started by talking about just kind of how to get started with Mpd X. So I'm going to share my screen with you. It's going to be a little bit small. You might want to kind of, you know, click the little green button or whatever it is in your version of a PC to make it as your full screen so that you'll be able to see all of it. So I'm going to share my screen with you, which is going to get really crazy for just a second. And then I will move off of that. And we will get started here. So,
the thing's been locked.
So you're going to get started by... All right. So, of course, the very first thing off of the top doesn't work, right? Isn't that how it always happens? Let me try this again. All right. Okay. So this is how you get started with Mpd X. So you're going to get started by going to mpdx.org and then either sign in with a Relay or the key.
If you're crew, you'll probably sign in with Relay, but I'm going to sign in here with the key. You're going to fill in your email and your password. Then once you get started, it'll take you here. You can set up a Google account. And so it's actually pretty easy to just set up the Google account you want from the beginning. It'll detect accounts that are already kind of open and connected if you're on Chrome, but then you can just hand enter one in as well. Entering your email, your password for your Google account, and then press accept. And this is just going to start an integration between Google and Mpd X. It's not going to do anything crazy. The next thing is you can add Facebook, but I'm going to talk more about that later, so we'll skip over it. Twitter and LinkedIn aren't quite ready yet. And then here on Relay, if you do sign in with a key, you won't be able to use the app, and so you can actually add a Relay account there as well. So then you press confirm, and it's going to take you here to your dashboard to get started.
So two quick important points about that. One is if you do not yet have your crew.org email or whatever equivalent is for the ministry with crew that you're joining, don't set up an Mpd X account with a Gmail or something else. You want to set it up with your crew.org. Otherwise, you're going to have two accounts that you'll have to merge later. Your crew.org or equivalent email is what will be connected to your actual account, so that when you set it up, they'll be able to link together. Now, for some ministries, and I know a few of you are joining us, who are international ministries or Power to Change or other ministries outside of Crew USA, you might be joining in with the key. And so the important point there is you can also create a Relay address so that you can use that to sign into the app. So the first thing that I want to talk about is learning how to learn technology. You know, I know that so many of us learn how to, you know, peel fruit using power tools by watching YouTube videos. And those are scenarios and areas where we're very comfortable watching YouTube videos to figure out how to do something. But for some reason, when it comes to technology, we're very hesitant to watch a video to teach us how to do something. We want somebody to sit down and show us. Sit down with me and show me exactly how to do this. And so I've tried to create every single video for both Mpd X and for Mpd and social media in a way that is, here, this is me sitting down with you, showing you one-on-one how to do this. And so I really want to encourage you to, through tonight's training and then some of the training we'll do at New Staff Training, just to sit back and watch and sit back and learn it. And then all of the videos, this webinar, all of our other things will be available to you. The first place that you can find it is actually here at Mpd and socialmedia.com. And so Mpd and socialmedia.wordpress.com. And so this is a site where I have basically everything that I'm going to teach you now and later on in your Mpd training here by individual blog posts in order to go back and learn it. It's got tutorials and live videos, and it will show you most everything that you need to know in order to get started. So the first thing that we are going to talk about is name storming. And so as you think about the word brainstorming, you know, when you brainstorm in a situation, you try to think of all the different possible scenarios, all the best things, all the crazy things, just anything that comes to your mind. And name storming is very similar. In the process of name storming, you're not evaluating the people that you're coming up with. You're not evaluating the connections and how you have those connections. You're just bringing in every possible person that you know that God might lead you to connect with when it comes to Mpd. Here's the thing here's one thing I really want to share, is that as you think about all of the people you're going to try to connect with in the process of creating financial ministry partners, there are people that you have in your mind right now that you're like, they're totally on board. They're so going to join my team. In fact, they're probably going to cover like half of my support. Okay, maybe not that, but you're very convinced that these people are going to join your team. And you know what? Some of them won't. And it's just going to be crushing. And it's just a reality. And there's these other people that you're like, there is no way in a million years they would ever join with me. They're not even a believer, or maybe they're a believer, but this is not something they would be interested in. And you know what? They're going to be your largest supporters. Like, it happens all the time. The people that you think are not going to join with you will, and the people that you think won't join with you won't. So, okay, that's not completely true. There are many people who you think are going to join with you who actually will, and people who you think won't, who really won't. But this is not a process where our wisdom is all-knowing. This is a process where we bring before the Lord and we say, who would you have me connect with? And so the first place to start is by name-storming and getting everyone you possibly know as a part of this process. And so, all right, sorry, going back and forth between that makes it a little crazy. So, you're supposed to come to new staff training with 200 names. And I know sometimes, when I ask this question at new staff training, how many of you had a hard time coming up with 200 names? Usually about a quarter of the room raises their hand. So then I ask the question, how many of you have more than 200 Facebook friends? And every one of those hands goes down. How many of you that had problems raising over 200 names have more than 200 Facebook friends? The reality is that even though some of the people that you look at on Facebook and you go, I don't know that these would be people I would ask. Most of those people are probably going to be stronger connections than you will have with referrals that you will begin to ask down the road. Even if you might not have talked to them since high school, they have a relationship with you that others you'll try to connect with won't. Your Facebook friends are very significant, and they really are gold. And so what can start is like, how do I come up with 200 names? You end up coming up with a significant number of names. And so the first place that you're going to want to look here is here on your Facebook friends. And so if you go to your profile and you go to your friends, there's lots of different ways that you can look. You can look at people that you work with, people that you went to college with, people high school. You can look at people in your current city, in your hometown. And these are great places to begin to look and see who are people you might connect with. One of the challenges of Facebook is getting those people out of Facebook and into your system. And so Mpd X is a way that's able to happen. And so we are going to take a little look at how to do that. So here in Mpd X, you've signed into mpdx.org, you went through that little wizard, you got things set up. And one of the first things you're going to want to do is go into your preferences, and you get there by clicking on this little gear, this little settings button, and go into preferences. And then you're going to want to put in your information. You hand enter this information. Making sure that your time zone matches up with your computer time zone is really important. You enter in your monthly goal, your default account list. This little button here says early adopter. Only check that button if you really like to kind of be the first in the know and you want to help us test things out with Mpd X. Mpd X is still a little bit of a beta type product where we're constantly releasing new things every week. And so we test those things first with our early adopters before we release them to everybody, but you can be an early adopter if you want. And then down here, you're going to decide what notifications you want to get. And we can get more into that later on into new staff training, but this is where you would set it up. From the networks, or from this place, then you go down to networks and imports. And this is where we're going to import our Facebook account. Now, here's something really important. I'm already signed into Facebook in this browser that I'm in. And so when I press add an account, it is going to automatically pick that account up and add it in. Here's where that becomes a problem. Each husband and wife can sign in with their own sign-in information and add their own Facebook information. But if you sign in with your wife relay and in the same browser, you're in your husband's Facebook account, it's just going to add the husband's Facebook account to the wife's profile. So if you're trying to add it for the first time, you just want to make sure that you're not signed into any Facebook account, but you can sign into your Facebook account from there. Once you've signed in, you're going to press Import Contacts. And when I press Import Contacts, I really like to add a tag to these accounts. I like to say Facebook, so that way when I'm trying to deal with my 1,500 Facebook contacts later, I can just look at those contacts to deal with them by having that tag. And then I would press Import. I'm actually not going to do that for this account, but that's what you would do next. And it says, are you sure? Oh, sorry, I accidentally pressed there. I didn't want to. So, so let's talk a little bit about that. The first thing that you're going to do is enable your Facebook network, just like I showed you. The next part is dealing with all those contacts. Here's what happens for a lot of people. They say, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that there were going to be that many Facebook people, and I don't want to deal with all of them because I'm not going to ask them. And I would really love for you to go back to the principles of name storming. Name storming is bringing everybody into the fold that you might possibly want to connect with, everyone you've had any sort of relationship with. Then you can go through and decide, based on the Lord's guidance, of course, if you actually want to connect with them. And I have been doing this for a number of years now, and it is significantly easier to do this in bulk in Mpd X than it is to try to do this in Facebook. And so that's why we've continued to go the route of having this be something that you edit in Facebook. A lot of people say, can't I just add some friends with Facebook? We've looked at going that route, but it's actually a lot more work for you to do it that way through Facebook than to do it that way through Mpd X. And so I'm going to show you how to deal with all of those contacts in just a little bit. The last thing I want to say is the future of Facebook. Right now, Facebook is actually making some pretty big changes to how applications are allowed to deal with it. And so at the end of this month, our connection with Facebook is actually going to go away, at least for the near future. We've been working for a number of months on figuring out how to work with and how to work with the new changes that Facebook is going to make, but currently they just aren't working with our program. Basically, Facebook has said that in order for an app like Mpd X to pull in your friend's information, that friend has to have also signed into the app. Well, since the only other people that will probably have signed into Mpd X are other staff, that's not actually going to be very helpful for you. So in terms of getting your Facebook people in, you're going to want to do that as soon as possible. If you wait until new staff training, the window will be gone. We're looking at different ways as how we can add that, but that's kind of the scenario right now. So, so that's Facebook, and like I said, I'm going to show you how to deal with all those contacts. We're going to continue to talk about name storming and the different places you can pull it in from before we organize our contacts. So the next one is other places for name, and that is for names, and that's email contacts and phone contacts. And so over here in your email accounts, if you go here, you can switch between mail and contacts and tasks. And so I clicked on contacts, and then you're here in your contacts. This is a great place to browse through and figure out different people. You can also create groups of contacts, and I will talk more about that later. But this is a great place for you to look into your different contacts. And just like Facebook, we have a way for you to actually import those contacts in. So if you go to Mpd X and you go to the preferences, this little button here, and then go to networks and imports, then Google is going to be your first choice. And under Google, you can add multiple accounts, so husband and wife. But under Google, you can configure the synchronization and you can import contacts. So we're going to start by configuring the synchronization. And so here we have a number of different integrations with Google. The first one is Calendar. So this is going to make it so that Mpd X can automatically sync different tasks with your calendar. And you'll be able to choose which tasks and which type of tasks you want to sync. So for instance, I only choose to sync my appointments. So I just like to sync my appointments, and I don't sync anything else. But you can sync any kind of task you want with your Google Calendar, and it will go straight into your calendar. And then you can press Sync Now to get that started. The Gmail integration, what this does is that if you have somebody's email address in Mpd X, so you have your contact, and in that contact you have their email address, once you set up this integration, if you email that person or they email you, a copy of that transaction will go into the history of that person. So if I email, if Jane Smith is one of my contacts, and I have janesmith@gmail.com, and from my email, from stacy.fletcher@cru.org, I email janesmith@gmail.com, that email will automatically go into Jane Smith's history, and I won't have to copy and paste and try to keep track of the emails that I sent her. It will automatically go into there. A little caveat with that is that if you have a coworker that is also one of your MPD partners, that can get a little bit tricky, and so because it will fill up with all of your emails to that coworker, and so for that coworker you might just want to go ahead and delete the coworker email out of there and just use a personal email address with that person to try to connect with them about any MPD issues. And you just enable that here. The same way, it's just going to tell you that it's syncing. The last one is the Google Contacts integration, and that's the one that I was just talking about. The Google Contacts integration is going to take all of your active contacts in Mpd X and sync it with your Google Contacts. So this way you'll have it on your phone and in other places. So when that person that you're trying to connect with about Mpd calls you or emails you, you'll know who that is because you've put those together. So that's how you set up the integration. Now you don't have to set up the integration to import from Google. You can just import the contacts. And when you're trying to come from Google to Mpd X, not Mpd X to Google, you're going to want to import the contacts the first time anyway. So you'll go to Import Contacts, and you can choose to import them all or only import from certain groups. So that goes back to here where I talked about you can create groups. If you go here, sorry, let's say I'm gonna select these ones. If I do this little button here, Groups, I can create a new group. And so I could say Mpd X. These are the people that I want to go into Mpd X. So then when I'm over here, now this isn't actually the same account, so that wasn't really that helpful, but I can choose, let's say I had Mpd X here as one of my options. I could choose to just import Mpd X people. So this way you can just import a small amount. You don't have to import your entire address book. But again, I actually find it easier to deal with your bulk contacts and working through all those contacts in Mpd X than I do in Google, so I would just import everybody. But that's totally up to you. You'll just press import. So that is how you import from email and phone. If you have your phone connected to Google, you can do it right there. So we set up our that. The other place is Twitter and LinkedIn. So these are places, other social media channels where you might find people that you know, are people that you want to connect with, especially if you're really active on those channels. I am a really active gymnastics blogger. And so I have a whole network of people that are just in my gymnastics life. And I have a few people from that life that I have connected with about partnering with me with Crew because they have similar spiritual interests. So if Twitter or LinkedIn or other social, Instagram or other social media channels where you have a connection and a presence, those are places to brainstorm from also. So here's the thing, if you brainstorm from those places, there's no integration like there is from Google and Facebook. And then in the near future, there won't be that Facebook integration. And so how do you add those contacts manually, you might ask? Why? I would love to share that with you. Here on anywhere that you're at, you can go to this quick add and you can add a contact. And so if you go to quick add a contact, you just literally, you know, type in their name. Then you'll just type in all of the information. The envelope name line is how you would want it to appear if you sent them a letter. And then later on down the road, you'll enter in all of this other information: commitment amount, frequency, start date, if they're getting your newsletter, what church they go to, any tags, who referred them, their address. You can add multiple addresses. Then this is the individual person. So this is just John Smith, and this is his gender and his birthday and his anniversary and his occupation, his employer. You can add his Facebook account. You can add links to his social media if you have them. Add his email address, phone number, etc. You can do all of this here. And then once you do that, you just press Save Contact. That's how you can add those one by one. Another way, here's a little workaround that I use if I just want to add a bunch of people at a time. I go to My Contact. I'm Stacy Fletcher. Oh, I never introduced myself. Hi, I'm Stacy Fletcher, and I work in digital strategies. And one of the things that I do within digital strategies is help teach our new staff how to use social media and how to for MPD, and then how to use Mpd X, which is a product I've been helping to develop. So anyway, sorry about that. So if you go here to your contact, then you just go to Add Referrals, and then you can just add them in kind of like a spreadsheet, and it's a lot faster. First spouse, last address, and you can just type them in that way. So if you do have to add contacts manually, this is a really fast way to do it. It will make them all as if you referred them to you, but that won't really matter since they'll just be connected to you. All right, so that is everything about adding contacts. Now, I know that there's a lot about Mpd X that you have not yet learned, and you might have lots of questions about lots of different areas of Mpd X. But what I'd like to do now is take just a couple of minutes to ask questions about any of the stuff that I've just presented to you. So any of the stuff about getting started with Mpd X, about name storming, or about adding contacts.
You're the computer guy. Sorry. What was I gonna ask?
Once you have...
Oh, I have a question.
Yep.
So we've been doing Mpd X for the last like 8 months, but we added all my Facebook contacts when we first started, but now I have several more. Is there a way to go back and like redo that?
Yep. I actually make it a practice to import every couple weeks because it's not a sync, it's just an import. So every time that you you add new friends and stuff like that, then you'll need to bring them in. And so importing again will just add the new people, and then everything you've done to the other people will stay done. So yeah, you can just import again from anything, from Google, from TNT, from Facebook. You can do the imports many times. One of the questions people ask often is, how do I delete contacts? And we actually don't let you delete contacts because we know that once you import them, that if you delete them, then the next time you import, you just have to do all that work again. And so instead we hide them, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. But yeah, you can import as many times as you want. And I would actually suggest everybody re-import again before the deadline, as it's our last chance for a while.
You think
How do you add multiple Facebook accounts? It's only allowing us to add one.
So you have, so then, so you need to be signed in on like different browsers or different computers. So you will sign into your Facebook account, or I'm sorry, not your Facebook account, your Mpd X account with your relay address or your address with your ministry. I'm assuming you're with Crew. And then your wife will sign into her Mpd X account, which is actually the same account, but she will use her relay address to sign in. And then she'll be able to add a separate Facebook than you. And it will allow you to both add Facebook accounts, but you just have to be signed in separately because it only allows one Facebook account per person that's per user that's signed in.
I have a quick question.
Yep.
I'm very new to this. In fact, I just checked out.
Oh, he did just check out, didn't he?
Oh no!
Quite literal.
Just checked out.
Hey, Stacy.
Yeah.
So while he's checked out, what about, are there any plans in the future to add LinkedIn and to be able to add LinkedIn accounts?
You know, our social media is kind of on hold, to be honest. We had lots of plans of adding LinkedIn and Twitter and lots of upgrades with Facebook and the connections. But with Facebook's changes to API, and actually now LinkedIn is going to make a bunch of changes to their API, they're basically just making it a lot harder to get information out of their APIs. And so we kind of just have to do a reboot and figure out what the best way to actually connect with those services is going to be.
When I was logging, my ministry wasn't listed in the list. Is there a way around that?
Yeah, so email us. There's that the help button. If you press the help button and then just press email us, then we can just get you added as an organization.
Okay, I'll do that.
You wanted to, like, what if there's a person already created? Is he going to merge with their name?
Oh yeah. So if we already have,
Yep.
Okay. Sorry. It was really slow, and I didn't want to talk over him. If we already have people in Mpd X, and then we what is it? What does she call it? It's not merge. Whatever you call when we link the Facebook again. What word are you calling that?
Just I don't know, import again or
import. Yeah. Okay. When you import it again, are we gonna have to go back through the whole list and then like merge people, or would it automatically merge people together? How's that gonna work?
Whatever work you've already done should stay done. It will just add the new people.
Right, but it shouldn't automatically merge. Like if we've got a John Smith that we put in manually, and then we import John Smith from Facebook that we just recently added, is it going to pick up on that?
Let me press hold on that because I'll talk about that in the organizing your contacts.
Okay.
So any other questions about the things I already covered with the importing? That is an import/organize conversation, but I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute.
Okay.
All right. So, all right. So one question here that that Ellis has asked is missionaries who want to know if you can be set up on Mpd X. Mpd X is open to any missions organization. So if you have friends that want to use it, if you're with another missionary organization that wants to use it and your organization is not one that shows up, just email email support@mpdx.org. It's the same little help email is on Mpd X itself, and just ask to be added as an organization, and then I will take you through the process from there.
Does it cost to do that if you're not a part of Crew?
Nope, free to everybody.
We should do that.
Great.
Yeah. So, all right. I am going to move on to organizing our contacts. All right. So the first way I want to talk to you about organizing your contacts is not in Mpd X, it's actually in Facebook, and that is by creating Facebook lists. Facebook lists can be so helpful to you in so many ways. The first is that they can be used to help you customize your privacy settings. So if you are in, closed country or just sensitive locations, or even just if you want to be sensitive to what you might share on Facebook, knowing that you have a lot of non-believing friends or family, this can be a great way to customize your privacy settings. It's also a great way to customize who can see posts, pictures, status updates, tag pictures. Literally, Facebook lets you customize it all by using your lists. It also lets you focus on a certain group of people to stay in your MPD mode. So, you get on Facebook to work on MPD. Facebook is a great place to work on MPD. But all of a sudden, you're chit-chatting with your mom, and you're playing Candy Crush, and you're doing all these other things. Lists can be a really great way to help you stay focused in on a certain group of people while you're in the MPD mode. And so I'm going to show you really quick how you can go about making those lists. Right here, if you go on your home page, almost all the way down is this little area that says Friends, and if you hover over it, it says More. If you click on More, it takes you to this page where it has all of the lists that you have, and it also allows you to create new lists. So I'm going to create a list here that is New Staff 2015, and I am going to add Ellis. I'm going to create that list. I like to just create it there and then go in here and manage it. I feel like it's a lot easier to do it this way. So I'm going to go manage this list, and I'm going to edit it. And now I can go through and I can choose all of my friends, and I can just go through and click. Okay, I want to put this person on this list, and this person, and this person, and this. Oh, nope, not that person. I just double click it to get them off again. This person. And then I just press finish. So these lists are for you only. People cannot see that they're on the lists. They don't know, there's nothing that indicates to them that they're on a list. But it can be really helpful for you to be able to use to customize. So that's how you create the list. I create lists around MPD. I create people in specific locations that I'm going to ask for appointments. I do people that I'm going to do MPD updates, people that I need to follow up with, people that I'm sending my prayer letter to. I kind of do lists for all sorts of different occasions. And throughout new staff training, and now I'll be talking to you more about how to use those lists. But this is how to create those lists. So as you begin to think through your Facebook contacts, you might think through, who am I going to ask for my initial appeal to new staff training? And who are people that I just want to give updates about what's going on in my ministry? And those are two lists that you probably would be really great to go ahead and create now. The other type of list that I like to create that can be super helpful is a location-based list. This is a list that Facebook automatically populates for you. And so if you go into your hometown location and you press and you go to your current city and you press Edit, then you can create another location. So I am going to do Birmingham, Alabama. Tammy, shout out to you. And press Save Pages. And so now, if I go back over here to my lists, well, maybe not. Birmingham should be here. Okay, maybe not because I did it from a different tab. So let me go here. I'm going to now go home. And then I'm going to go over here to my friends and go to more. All right. So I'm not sure what I didn't do correctly, but oh, here it is. Now it's just at the bottom. it's going to create a new list for Birmingham, Alabama area. So now everybody that is in Mpd X that lives in that area is going to come up. And use it. Oh, I think I don't have any friends in Birmingham, Alabama. That's why it's not working. Anyways, so I'll show you how it works. So normally, you know, you're here in your list, and it's your location-based list, and it's going to populate everybody that's in that location. This is great for MPD trips, for you to be able to focus in on people that are in a specific town you want to go to. It's great for your hometown of where you're raising support and connecting with ministry partners. It's a really great way to just check in and see who's around, what are they doing, are they in a place that you can try to connect with them, pray for them. It's just a really great way for you to do that. And then another thing that you can do is you can do posts where you then just go in and choose to do a post only to a specific group of friends. So I do that a lot for ministry update purposes, rather than like create own separate you know, Facebook page for people to follow or group. I just use my own page, but I update statuses, pictures, etc. only to my MPD followers. So, you know, I can say I'm training our new staff in using social media. Please pray for them. And that only went to my MPD updates. The only people that were able to see that were my MPD people, not all of my Facebook friends. So it's a great way to use lists. The other ways to organize your contacts are your Google Contact groups, which I showed you a little bit earlier, so I'm going to skip over that. But creating your Google Contact groups, then you can email people that way, and then you can also use it in Mpd X. And so then the next are fields and filters in Mpd X and labels in Mpd X. So I'm going to show you how to do that. If you're here on the contact page of Mpd X, over here are all your filters, and there's a lot of fields within Mpd X that then you can filter out to look at specific things. And so you can use these filters to help you begin to organize your contact. So some of those are going to be obvious, cities and states. You know, you're going to say, okay, the first city that I'm going to go to after new staff training is such and such a place, and you'll be able to use that in order to begin organizing your contacts. Some really basic ones that are going to be kind of your bread and butter is the status. You know, you're going to assign people never contacted, ask them in the future, cultivate a relationship. Those are kind of later on in the MPD process. Contact for appointment, appointment scheduled, call them for decision. Partner financial, they're partnering with you on an ongoing basis. Partner special, they've said, you know, we can't commit to ongoing, but we'd love to give you a one-time special gift. And partner pray, you know, we can't commit to anything financially, but we'd love to connect with you in prayer. And then these are the ones that are, you know, people that have indicated that they're not interested in some way. Either they're not interested, unresponsive. This does not mean that you've asked them twice and you've never gotten an email back from them. This means that you've exhausted all possibilities of connecting with them, and you've tried email and phone and Facebook and knocking at their door at midnight. Okay, maybe not that, but you've done a lot to try to connect with them and they're just not responding. People that for whatever reason you've determined to never ask, research, abandoned, expired referrals. These here, not interested and below, these fields are all hidden. So once you say that somebody is one of these fields, Mpd X is going to hide them. And so as you think through and you go, oh my goodness, I've got, you know, 1,500 Facebook contacts, and I just know so many of those are people that I'm not going to ask. I'm going to show you a really quick way to hide all of those people in one swoop. Another thing that's going to be really helpful for you to organize your contacts before you come to new staff training is to go through and determine who's least likely to give, and most likely to give. Now, going back to what I said before, you'll probably be wrong, but hey, it's a great place to start. It's a good place to start really qualifying, you know, where you think people are at. And these other fields will be more helpful later on down the road, so I'm not going to connect with them right now. The other thing that you can do is add a tag. Now, tags are just like filters. They work the same way, but basically a tag is your filter. When you go, oh, I wish they had a filter for this, then you just create a tag, because a tag will let you look at those specific group of people. You know, so maybe you say an MPD trip. One tag I've used a lot is research. So in that process where you go, oh my goodness, I just imported 1,500 contacts from Facebook, a lot of those people are going to be people that you're like, I just don't know. I mean, I haven't connected with them in years. Are they following Christ? Do we have any sort of connection anymore? And so I actually just label those people research, and then I go back and I look at their Facebook profiles and I try to figure out and ask the Lord what I'm going to do with them later. But tags you can use in any which way you want. And when you're looking people up, you can do any combination of tags and filters that you want. You can say, I would like to look at everybody that I'm going to contact for an appointment and have an appointment scheduled or a call for decision that that is in the Eastern time zone. Now I got one person. I got Rapunzel. So, so, you know, but you can look up any sort of combination. If you don't like your combinations, you can just reset your filters very easily there, and it goes back to everybody. So that's how you can look up people with tags and tasks, but before you look people up, you actually need to set things, and here's how you do that. You can just go through. The easiest thing when you're first starting is to go ahead and set this to, you know, 1,000 or whatever, so it's going to show all of your contacts. And then you can go through and you can bulk select people. So let's say you're going to decide you're going to add people. You're going to say, I'm going to go through and choose all of my most likely to give people. And so you're just going to go through prayerfully with the Lord. You're going to select those people. You're going to come up here to Actions, and you're going to go Edit Fields, and you're going to change their likely to give to most likely to give. You can bulk edit that way is status. So you could say, I am also most likely to give. I am going to just go ahead and switch all of them to contact for an appointment because I know that I want to connect with them immediately. You can also bulk edit your newsletter, their church, and you can bulk edit a website. So if you add that, it's just going to change all of that information in those people. The same thing can be used for tags, to add a tag, to remove a tag, to add a task, to log a task. And logging a task just means, okay, I did that. And then hide contacts. So versus the most likely to give, let's say you're like, okay, I want to go through and figure out who are all the people that I just know, hey, I'm not going to ask these people. They were people imported from Facebook. They're not, you know, they're people that I'm going to ask. You just select in here and then just press hide contacts. And it will hide them all, never to be seen again unless you look them up. I do, if you go to the help site here, our Mpd X help site, I have a very detailed, I have a very detailed FAQ that helps you work through all of those, like, point by point, to help you if you're really stuck on the Facebook contacts. And while I'm here on the help site, just to say, there are training videos on a whole lot of scenarios, importing from different places, finding duplicates, etc. There's overviews. We just changed the look of Mpd X like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, week and a half. And so the training videos are the old look. They will be updated soon, but for the most part, the information is exactly the same. So the other thing on here is this find duplicate. So this is going back to what you said. If I import a bunch of people and I've hand entered Jane Smith, and then now Jane Smith is also a Facebook friend, if you just press this find duplicates, it's going to do a pretty good job of finding most of those people. And when it does find them, it will say Jane Smith, Janet Smith, Are these two duplicates? And then you just press yes, merge these people, and you'll go down that list. And it's going to find duplicates both in terms of different contacts and then within the contacts. So let's say that on Facebook you've got Robert, and when they give, on Facebook you've got Bob. When you enter them in, you know him by Bobby, so you put into Mpd X Bobby, and when he gives to crew, he actually gives as Robert. And so you're going to have Robert Smith, Bobby Smith, and Bob Smith, all as 3 different people, and you merge them in, but they're really all the same person. And so one of the options will be to merge them all into one person. And so that find duplicates is really, really helpful. If the find duplicates doesn't actually find the duplicate, like you find, oh, I've still got 2 people that are duplicates, all you do is you press those 2 together and then you press merge. And it's going to say, are you sure you want to merge the selected contacts? This action cannot be undone. This action cannot be undone. Like, you'll have to manually recreate both of the contacts if you don't want it to be done. So please only press merge if you're sure. But that's how you can manually merge contacts together. So that is what I have for that. I'm going to take some quick questions right now along those lines. So if you have any questions along the stuff that I just shared about organizing your contacts, go ahead and fire away. Okay. So we are at 9:30, which is 9:35 actually, which is when we were going to stop. But we started about 15-ish minutes late. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on. If you need to drop off, this will be recorded. You can come on and watch the rest of it on YouTube. But I'm going to there's just a couple of more things I really want to be able to show you to get you set up well to come to new staff training. So I will check. Okay. So a little bit ago, Colton asked a question, can you delete contacts in Mpd X? And just in case you didn't catch that answer, Colton, we don't have the ability to delete contacts, and the reason that we haven't added it is because you're syncing from so many different places that what we've experienced is that people would delete the contacts. They'd sync from Google or they'd sync from Facebook, and they go, I don't want this person, and they delete them. And then the next time they sync, that person would come right back. And then they would have to go back and delete every single person they already deleted from that import again. So instead, we hid the contacts, because hiding the contacts, then if you import them again, Mpd X is going to go, oh yeah, I know that person. They don't want that person. And so you won't have to redo the same amount of work again. Granted, we know that sometimes that's a little bit of a pain if you accidentally enter someone in. I do training on my account all the time. I have Mickey Mouse and Jane Smith and all sorts of crazy people on my account that I can't delete. But I can just hide them. And once they're hidden, I don't ever have to deal with them unless I want to deal with them. The other good part about that is sometimes people that you think right now aren't interested or you wouldn't connect with them. Let's say you're on campus and they're students. And you're like, oh, I'm not going to ask them to join my team. They're a freshman student. Well, in 4 years, they might be graduated. And at that point in time, they are somebody that you would want to connect and ask with. And so being able to go back to those hidden contacts and adding them in can be really helpful. And Colton, you asked about international. If you could email that question in, I can answer individually. So. All right, I am going to do our last little bit here on doing your ask for new staff training. And so I know that we ask you to raise the initial funds that you are going to need for new staff training by, sending out an appeal letter. Appeal letter is a really dry term. It's basically just sending out a letter to ask people to join with you on what you're doing. And so I want to show you how you can manage that in Mpd X. The information that you already got covers how to actually do the letter. So I'm not going to cover that. I'm just going to cover the part about how how to use Mpd X to help you set those things up, and then a few things about the Gibbsite. So if we go here to your dashboard for Mpd X, here on this tab, there's a bunch of tabs down here: Connect, Care, Cultivate, Progress, Appeals. So we're going to look at Appeals right now. And you can create a new appeal. And so let's say you're going to create this appeal to be new staff training. And your initial goal of what you have to raise for new staff training, I've got no clue. They want to shout out an amount? Anybody?
1,900.
All right, 1,900. And let's say you're going to send your letter out, so it's going to cost you 300. Crew charges an admin of 12%. You can change that if your organization is different. So the goal of what you need to raise is $24.64. Then you can add the contacts with any of the statuses. So if you've gone through and you have already, you know, added the status for the people that you're going to contact, then you know, you can use that. For this particular one, you probably haven't done that. The easiest thing is probably going to be to add a tag to all of those people. So basically, everybody that you want to initially contact about joining with you to give a special gift towards your ministry to come to new staff training, let's add a tag. So let me show you how to do that really quick, just to make sure here that we're all on the same page. And we're going to go to Contacts, and I'm going to come through, and you know, I'm going to select, well, first I'm going to show everybody. I'm going to show everybody. It always defaults back to 25. Sometimes that's a little annoying when you're trying to do a lot of bulk editing like I was showing you before. But the thing that happens is people forget to put it back to 25, and then it gets a lot slower. Like when you're loading 1,000 contacts versus loading 25 contacts, your load time is going to go so far down, and you're not going to realize that's why, and it's going to drive you nuts. And so we found it's better just to not drive you nuts most of the time than to drive you nuts a few times when you're bulk editing. So you'll have to change this to show 100, and I'm just going to say, you know what, I'm just going to add everybody, but there's a couple of people in here. Oh, this person just gave me a gift. We talked at church, and this person, I just, you know, I just really know I shouldn't ask. And, you know, there might be a few people in there. But everybody else, we're going to go ahead and we are going to add a tag. And we are going to add a tag that says New Staff Training 2015 Ask. So let's add that tag. So now it's going to show up here, so we're going to be able to look here. But now when I go back here and I create this referral, or this appeal, I'm sorry, I'm going to create this new appeal, and I'm going to say New Staff Training 2015, and my goal is 1,900, my letter cost is 300, so that's how much I have to raise. I'm not going to do any, I'm going to uncheck all of these, and then I'm going to add New Staff 2015 Ask. These ones are great for like when you're seeing your staff down the road. If somebody's just giving you a special gift in the last 3 months, or just joined your team in the last 3 months, increased their giving, stopped their giving, or marked as do not ask for appeals, it will automatically take them out. So that way you don't have to cull through your list every time. So I'm going to create my appeal. And then it's going to bring me here. And now I can go ahead and I can create some tasks along with this. So this is going to tell me what their current monthly commitment is. So when this is the first time around, you're probably not going to have all of that. But you see here you can select all, select none. You can select all that have donated. So if you want to do some specific things with people that have already donated, you can select all. And then you can select all that have not donated. So first we're just going to start with select all. And we're going to create a task to send a support letter. So let's say we're going to send that letter on Friday. At noon. And I'm going to press create. And so it's going to create all those tasks for those people. And so that will help me keep track of who I'm sending this letter to. But I also know, okay, I've sent this letter to these people, and now I want to go ahead and send out a call. I want to call those people back after I've sent a letter. So now I'm going to add a call, and I am going to do that for you know, a week after I sent the letter, starting Friday, and I'm going to create those calls. And so now it's going to create those tasks again in those people to call those people back for the letter that I sent them. The last thing that I can do, or not the last thing, but another thing that I can do with those people is I can actually export a list to CSV. So a CSV file is basically just a data file that you can use with Excel or Numbers or Google Sheets. And so this is going to be all these people that I've connected, and I'm just going to export them, and it's going to just download a CSV that then I can use to either send emails or send letters to. And again, if I wanted to create a new tag, I could. If I wanted to create a tag for just specific people in here, that I could do that. And so that's another way that you can work through your appeal. So after you've done your appeal, you're going to go, then let's say you start getting donations in. And this one's a little bit harder because there's not any actual donations. So I'm going to go to my real account here, and you go to donations. And if you go to a donation, over here on the right, you can edit a donation. And so let's say that I'm in this donation here, and I want to say that that donation was for that appeal. So I'm in a different account right now, but pretend this appeal was New Staff Training 2015. I could assign it to that New Staff Training 2015. If, let's say, sometimes people will give, and they'll, you know, like once you're going along the way and you've been raising your support for a while, sometimes people will give an end of the year gift or something like that, where they'll include their monthly gift. So they're giving $25 a month, and then they're going to give a $25 special gift, and so they'll give you $50. So then here you could just say, you know, half of that. So, you know, 25 is the appeal, and it'll work that way. And so then once you do that, then it's going to, once you've started to do that for all the gifts that are coming in, it's going to actually, you know, help give you a little bit of a thermometer on how you've done with that. And then it will also show you when you've received donations. It's a little slow, but, you know, it'll say when you've received donations towards that appeal. So you'll be able to look down through here and see where you've gotten donations. And again, then you'll be able to select all that haven't donated. And you can send them a follow-up email saying, hey, remember I sent you that letter, just wanted to connect about email. Connect through email about that, and so you can do that way. A caveat I want to make, we are in the middle, so one of the things about Mpd X is it's in constant state of being improved, which is great, and sometimes perilous. And the perilous is right now we are updating that appeal tracking. And so you may have even noticed, if you have a keen eye, that appeal tracking in this account, which is my live account, versus appeal tracking in this account, which is our staged account, was different because we're actually adding a lot of functionality to appeal tracking. So a lot of the stuff that I showed you should be rolled out within the next couple of days, but it might look a little bit different for you right now in Mpd X. But that's going to be a way for you to, you know, manage this appeal that you send out to people if you want. Here in tasks is where then you keep track of those tasks. So this was the email, you know, this was the appeal that we sent up, and let's say you go, okay, I want to look at all the people that I said I needed to call back, and so I'm just going to look at those calls, and I'm going to look at those calls, and I only want to look, I'm just going to look at the people that I set to call up in Eastern time, because I'm just going to, you know, do it by time zone, or, you know, you can filter in tasks the same way that you could in contacts in order to go through your tasks. At New Staff Training, I'm going to go through tasks a lot more in depth, but that's just kind of a basic overview that you could use them for your appeals. So another thing that's going to help you in creating your, in your ask for your new staff training letter is setting up your Gibbsite on crew.org. So if you go to the staff site, staffweb.crew.org, and you sign in with your relay, you go to MPD and donations, then down here, about halfway down, it says edit my give.crew.org profile. If you click on that, it's going to take you into this editing screen, and you're going to be able to, you can add a cover picture, you can add a little profile picture, and you can add just a little blurb about what you want to say. So you just click edit this page, change your cover photo, change your photo, click in here to edit the text. And so this is going to be the blurb that people see about you when they go to the Give site to your account number to give. And so this is just the, it's a place for people to look you up online, to check you out and see, what is this thing that you're doing with Crew, and it's in the midst of the crew.org website, so it's, going to give them, this is what it's actually going to look like. It's going to be here on the give.crew.org website. People are going to be able to go give a gift right to them, search staff or ministries, other ways to give, FAQs. This is going to be a place where they can find out everything they need to know about Crew, but also where they can really easily give a gift. And so if you are emailing somebody, following up, asking if they are going to help you with new staff training, if you're sending them a Facebook message, you can just easily give them this link so that they can go give online. I found that following up with an email, an individualized email to somebody with the link, can really improve the amount of people that I get to respond to my appeal letters, because they actually are able to just click and give, and they don't have to deal with envelopes or checks or anything else like that. So this can be really powerful, but it's the most powerful if you've gone in and just put a little blurb. It doesn't have to be a big thing, just a little bit about what you're doing and what God's called you to. So last thing, and this is kind of for people that are advanced and just want to play around on their own. I will be covering this more during new staff training, but if you do want to use these things for your appeal, this can be helpful. 3 of our integrations, MailChimp, QueryLetters.com, and Chalkline. QueryLetters.com and Chalkline are hard copy newsletter sites that help you send your query letter much more easily and effectively. And if you're going to use that for your query letters, you can start right up with your own appeal. There's integrations and directions on the help site on how to get those set up. MailChimp, if you were going to email out any sort of mass newsletter, you don't want to do it with a PDF. You want to do it with something like MailChimp. And again, on the help site, I have a whole little video that shows you how to get that set up and enabled. If you want to dive into that your own, we will dive into it more during new staff training. Again, all of the stuff that I showed you, basically all of it's here on mpdandsocialmedia.wordpress.com, broken up into little different pieces. This webinar will be available that you can rewind, go back and watch things as you need to go as well. And so we are way over time, so I am just going to see if there's any more questions before we sign out tonight.
I have a question.
Yeah?
Can you hear me? I'm on full-time staff and Wade is on part-time staff, and so he's joining full-time. So right now we have separate giving accounts that will merge when we come to new staff training. Mm-hmm. So if we both sign up for Mpd X now, will those merge together, or should we wait to do that?
So each of you sign up for Mpd X, and then email us with your different account numbers and just say, hey, can you merge these together? And we can actually merge them long before they are officially merged. And then you can work out of one account. The little caveat will be that the balance that will show will be his balance. It just pulls in the main account number's balance, which will be his. So it's just going to show until your accounts are officially merged, it's just going to show the one balance, but everything else will work just like normal. So we can merge as soon as you want to merge them. Just email into the help site and we can get you in the queue.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. I'm checking my email just to see if there were any questions emailed in before I sign off, but it doesn't look like it. So thank you guys very much, and I will be with you on one night during new staff training, going over kind of the next steps in Mpd X and in social media. We'll cover a lot more stuff, a lot more social media stuff then too. So I hope this was really helpful. And ooh, I just saw a question. It's a really great question from Alice. This question is, can you import from Mpd X into an Excel file? And the question, or can you import from an Excel file into Mpd X? And the answer is no, you can't directly. So if you're just trying to import contact information, you can just go to, you can actually, import the file into Google, and then from Google, you can then connect with Mpd X. If you have lots of other information in the Excel file that you would like to connect to, like giving information and frequency, then you need to use TNT Mpd to do that. And so both of those questions, I have a full like step-by-step thing written out. And so if you email Mpd X support email box, so support@mpdx.org, I can just email you back the instructions and with the showing you how to do both of those.
Will Mpd X automatically sync with TNT, or do you have to do that manually?
So that's a manual import as well, and that's another one I didn't cover because I assumed most of you weren't coming from that situation. But there on the help site, there's a how to import from TNT. It is different than how you normally export from TNT, so you'll want to watch that little video, but it's really easy. And it's just a one-time import. The two systems are two totally different systems that work two totally different ways. One's in the cloud, one's a desktop application, so they don't connect to each other. And so, but you can get everything out of TNT and bring it into Mpd X by following the instructions on the website.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Look forward to seeing you guys. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Stacey.
Night.